Next up, we have a fireside chat hosted by Neogames and featuring the two big R's, Remedy and Rovio. So,
good morning, everyone. Fireside chat about sustainability. I am Elina Tyynela from Neogames, and I have today with me two different companies, as mentioned, Rovio and Remedy, so two different platforms, both of them having knowledge and interest in sustainability topics, so super happy about having you both here. So Tommi Lappalainen is Senior Sustainability Manager from Rovio, and Veli-Pekka Puolakanaho is Head of Corporate Development and IR from Remedy Entertainment. Let's jump on discussion right away. The slide is still missing there, but we see them there. But anyway, we are going to talk about sustainability as mentioned, and we're going to start with sustainability strategies. We should have that slide soon there behind me. But anyway, both Rovio and Remedy has their sustainability strategies, and I would like them to introduce the strategies a little bit, but it's a little hard for them to just probably explain if we don't see anything.
It's on the...
We can see it here, but not behind me.
Well, it's so simple anyway, we can talk about that.
Yeah. If you feel like starting, go ahead, Tommi.
Yeah, fine.
Your sustainability.
So, talking about Rovio sustainability strategy, this is a bit like 3 years old now. So we have three components there, three important pillars. One of them, safe and responsible gaming, which is talking about the sustainability of the core of our products. Then we have people and society, talking about employee well-being, diversity, equity, inclusion, and a contribution to the larger society as well. And then lastly, of course, climate and environment. Every modern-day company needs to have some kind of agenda on climate and environment as well. And then about the way of working, how we approach these things. There's three components. Shared value creation. This is something where we want to find those initiatives, those opportunities where it's good for business and good for sustainability. Those initiatives have longevity. And then, of course, continuous improvement. That's really important concept in sustainability. Not where you are today, but where you plan to be in the future. So that's really important mindset for every company managing sustainability. And also long-term perspective. We are not doing this ad hoc based. We are talking about planning 5 years ahead. So it's really important to have also strategy to plan it ahead. And the foundation of our strategy is based naturally on Rovio strategy, the business strategy, our mission and values, and materiality analysis, which then guides what to focus on, what to leave out. And that's it.
Yeah. How about Remedy? I will jump a little bit behind here so people can see a little more when you talk about that, but please go on.
Fantastic. So we obviously have a lot of similarities. Why are we doing this? Well, threefold. We want to make, naturally, Remedy a better place to work, a better place to operate, and a better business partner for everyone. And sustainability is one key area for that. Our sustainability strategy is defined by three key pillars. People at the heart of everything we do. As we all know, games industry is, yes, it's a hit-driven industry, but it's even more a talent-driven industry. And that's why you really need to be, people need to be in your focus. There we have two focus points. One is obviously DEI factors. The other is professional development, mentoring, and well-being at work, which is more about, you know, how you feel about being at Remedy, how your career is progressing, and how we take care of our workers and our talent. The second one, like with Rovio, is about the gaming. So we make great games, so memorable experiences for fans across the globe. There, the two aspects that we have defined are responsible gaming, similarly to Rovio, and then there's safety of the gaming community. I mean, our games are made for players, so we do need to make sure that the gaming communities are, I mean, we have zero tolerance for harassment, and they are safe environments for players to enjoy. And the third one is responsible member of the society. Here we have impact on the environment as one sub-point. I mean, naturally, we do need to take that into consideration and educate our staff and make an impact for the surrounding environment and society. We have ethical business practices as a listed company, but as a company in general, we need to make sure that we do things the way they are supposed to be done and in a clear and visible manner. And then there's the stakeholder engagement, which refers to us wanting to proactively impact the society, for instance, together with Neogames and other organizations like that to make the games industry a better place to work and attract more talent.
Thank you. It might sound quite a lot, so I would like to hear a little more details about building this kind of strategy. I know that Remedy has quite recently started build this strategy, so please could you tell us a little bit more about building this kind of strategy here?
Certainly, and please cut me off if I start to get rambling. So obviously Remedy as a sort of a game industry pioneer, I mean, we've been operating for years, have done a lot of actions, have taken a lot of actions on these different fronts. However, last year we started to take more efforts into actually distilling them into a strategy that we can define and that we can live with. The first step that we needed to take was to figure out what is material? What are we supposed to focus on? There's like a million things. Sustainability is a buzzword. What's going on? What we should be thinking about? Materiality analysis is a tool to do just that. So you ask your stakeholders, your employees, your partners, series of questions to define what they perceive as being material. What are those key topics that they see as being really important from a sustainability point of view? We did this together with a partner, Milton, to define that, and we got a really good answers from both questionnaires, so quantitative data as well as qualitative data. And through this, we were easily able to identify several topics. For instance, people topics were perceived as really material, really big things for people all around, be it the professional development side or then DEI matters. And then the second, I think, biggest category there was about the gaming, was about the products themselves, especially when it comes to the safety of the gaming community being, very nurturing positive, behavior, positive doing, and on the other hand, being strict on the negative side of things. One thing that was a bit surprising from there, this is just an anecdote, that environmental factors were not that, highly rated. However, we feel that they are obviously important things, and we wanted to take them specifically to the agenda as well. It doesn't mean that people wouldn't have rated them highly; they were high, but compared to some other points. Yeah. But I guess that's down to the industry we are in. We don't actually pollute the world that much. From that, we started work grouping with different people. We set up this group where we brainstormed things and went through the data. There were people from our board of directors, from our core management team, from our game teams, from people operations. So basically across the organization to filter in that data and understand not only what is material, but also where can we impact the most. Do I still have time?
I do, some.
Through this work, we were able to now create and set this strategic sandbox, if you will, with 3 pillars and 7 focus points. And now what we are doing currently is finding those business owners in the organizations, those champions who are responsible to take those initiatives forward. As Tommi said, it's really iterative work. I'm not saying that we are ready in all of these. Earlier this year, we made a conscious decision to start with the people pillar, work on those topics, and get them moving, which we have done. We'll talk about those later. We have done a lot of work on some other bullet points as well, or focus points, sorry. And towards the latter part of this year, we will start working more on the gaming pillar, as well as focusing more efforts on the ethical business practices, meaning different policies, guidelines, and things like this. So it's world is not ready, but it's never gonna be ready. It is an evolving thing, and we need to keep on working step by step.
Yeah.
Eat an elephant one piece at a time, as some people say. I'm not sure if that's too kosher to say, but anyway.
But that's the
I
way
would
it
never
goes.
do that.
That's the way it goes. Maybe we should jump to the player part, because it's on both of your strategies there. Tommi, could you share with us what kind of actions do you have in Rovio when it comes to player part of sustainability?
Yeah, of course, players with gaming companies, that's the bread and butter. If I kind of try to highlight what's been done recently and where we have been focusing, is that one of the recent ones is that we are developing this kind of a tool for our game teams, playbook for inclusive game development and marketing. So here we try to address things and try to provide our game teams the tools how we can, for example, think about in the very early stage of game development, how to have proper representation of our society within a game, how we think about accessibility. Are those games inclusive enough? Are we excluding some parts of our society, some parts of our players that we just tell stories that doesn't fit to them? So, for example, those are quite simple things, but you just need to think about it. Like, for example, let's think about color blindness as a disability. If you have a puzzle game that's full of bright colors, do you also offer different shapes and sizes that people who can't recognize the colors can still play the game? So those things are really important, and that's why we wanted to create that playbook. Then we also have, a few years ago, we developed Rovio player safety policy, where we address what kind of user-generated content you can have in our games. More social features you have, voice chats, then you have user-generated content, nicknames, guild names. Players are quite creative if they want to have those bad words in the game, so that's something you need to moderate and think about. And also, one thing I want to highlight is that you are not alone when you think about the sustainability practices. Many companies, like us, like Remedy, like others, are really willing to share the learnings. So, for example, Fair Play Alliance is a good network and membership alliance for us, where you can kind of have good resources and good networking possibilities with different companies.
Then about the people, so people making the games. What kind of actions is there in Remedy when it comes to diversity, inclusion, and equity?
People, as said, it is a core component, and it's not only about DEI. It's also about this, as said, professional development, mentoring, well-being at work, nurturing that talent, and making them better, and making them feel good, making them, creating great teams. That's hugely important. When it comes to DEI, that's one area where we've worked a lot on this year. We initiated or started the year by setting up a DEI working group. So a bunch of people from different parts of the organization to bring in that knowledge. The thing is that even though I'm very passionate about sustainability, I don't know everything, and I don't know everything about DEI. But we gather different people with the purpose of looking at the current situation, assessing where we are good, where we need to work on, in order to increase diversity of thought in the company. So it's not just about diversity, so hiring more men or women or things like that, but also increasing the diversity of thought, so the people with truly different backgrounds and mindsets. Getting that talent pool into a more diverse one, preferably even getting more applicants with broader backgrounds. So we can then actually choose that best talent and build that talent pool into even a better one. Naturally, the hiring is about the merit and about the talent, but also that we get the people to think about these things when acting as a hiring supervisor. That, okay, do I just want to hire bald, white, bearded guys like me, even though I like me, of course. But perhaps it's a good idea to think about that you might want to have also different people from different parts of the society there.
That's true.
What we are other things doing there is now redefining our guidelines and policies when it comes to something like anti-harassment and things like this. It's an important topic that we want to get updated. We want to create a proper roadmap for the years to come, so that it's not just about events or single things or small fixes here and there, but how can we improve those matters over a longer time and over several years?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to think about inclusivity. Like, for example, we are in Finland. If you talk about only Finnish in your company and you try to hire people abroad, that's not very inclusive. So the diversity actions fall into drain if you don't have the inclusivity, the stickiness of hiring diverse people.
Exactly.
This is actually a really good point and relates to managing those teams and making everyone feel good, feel safe, even though you are from abroad or from a different school or school of thought. And that boils really down to the company culture, the management, the leadership capabilities, and things like this. And it's something that you actually need to actively think about.
That's true. About environment, before asking anything, I have to make some advertising here. If you're interested in calculating your studio's CO2 emissions, there's a calculator for that in Pelimetsä's website, so please check that out.
It's a great tool.
Thank you. That wasn't both advertised from that side. Tommi, Rovio has been calculating CO2 emissions for quite a while now. How important do you think is to know the emission level, and is there some greatest, biggest, most important learnings you have had there?
Yeah, we've been doing that like heavily, like 5 years, and of course, like with games companies, you know that you need to have your data right. So if you want to manage your emissions, if you want to reduce your impact to climate, of course you need to know where you stand today. You need to know what are the hotspots, what are the big pillars, where does your emissions come from. So of course that's a really important starting point. And the top advice I always give to different companies, different indie companies who approach me and ask like where to start. Well, start somewhere. This is something that, as I said, continuous improvement is really important. So you need to start now, you need to start today, but you don't need to be perfect after today, after year one. So you gradually improve. You can start calculating carbon footprint of your offices, maybe add a little bit travel to that, and then gradually improve your calculation methods, maybe bring in a consultant or some external party to verify that am I doing okay. So that's my key recipe for that. And like, you would think that climate science is an exact science, but when it comes to carbon accounting, it's not ready. It's not exact science, so you need to set your boundaries. So that's really important. But of course, if you start small, be transparent that I'm only doing this part and I'm thinking about.
And there's
growth.
no shame in that, starting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what we have done as well, bit by bit, baby steps to the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. But to start somewhere and then carry on when you can. Yeah. At this moment, I would like to ask if there's some question from audience side about sustainability. No worries, I was prepared because I have one very good question, in my opinion. About the future, is there something regarding this topic, so sustainability, that you are really looking forward to seeing more in the future?
Well, I'm thinking that it's just a road for the gaming companies to come. We are many times considered as a kind of a young industry, but not so young anymore. It's a standard thing that you have your sustainability practices up and running. So whether you want it or not, it's coming. So why not give it a go right after today?
Yeah, actually, that's a good reply. It is interesting to see what all sorts of new things are coming. Some by regulation, but some by also sort of voluntary work that people just want to make. People want to enjoy life where they work, and sustainability is one way to enhance that make companies better, and lower turnover. It's always better because people love to do that with great people.
Exactly.
Diverse background.
Yeah. Thank you, Veli. Thank you, Tommi, for joining me to this fireside chat. Thanks everyone in the audience. If you want to chat about this with us after this, please just grab our sleeves and come and talk with us. But thank you all.
Thanks.